The American photographer Marion Post was born in 1910 in New Jersey. After becoming a teacher, she moved to a small town in Massachusetts to work. There, she witnessed the harsh reality of the Great Depression and the struggles of the impoverished. When the school closed, Marion went to Vienna to study photography, but she later returned home and combined her two passions. In 1978, Marion Post organized her first solo exhibition in California, and by the 1980s, the Smithsonian Institution and the Metropolitan Museum of Art began to collect her photographs. Marion Post's works are now housed in the Center for Creative Photography at the University of Arizona in Tucson, Arizona. Marion Post passed away in 1990 at the age of 80. Here are some of her works from the period 1938 to 1941. Cooperative Gas Station in Greenbelt, Maryland, September 1938. An FSA borrower builds new gates for his farm in Prairie Farms, Montgomery, Alabama, 1939. A rainy evening in New York, looking west towards the Hudson River from University Place, September 1939. Rainy evening in New York, looking north from University Place, September 1939. Beachgoers in Miami Beach, Florida, 1939. Children on the steps of Mrs. Brown's house, FFSA borrowers in Prairie Farms, Montgomery, Alabama, 1939. Copper mining and sulfuric acid plant, Copper Hill, Tennessee, September-October, 1939. Cotton snakes, cotton waste collected from the picking room floors and sorting rooms in brokers' offices on Cotton Row, Front Street, Memphis, Tennessee, October 1939. Tourist camp in Dade City, Florida, 1939. Domestic help, waiting for the streetcar on their way to work early in the morning, Mitchell Street, Atlanta, Georgia, 1939. Farmers playing cards on a winter morning, Woodstock, Vermont, 1939. Meeting place in the park, Lakeland, Florida, 1939. The home of a migrant family traveling and working throughout the South, repairing, building, and any other odd jobs. Temporary camp near Atlanta, Georgia, 1939. Jai Game, Hialeah Park, Miami, Florida, 1939. Poor farmers sleep in a warehouse. They often had to stay there for several days until all the tobacco was sold. Durham, North Carolina, 1939. June and January, Miami Beach, Florida, 1939. Cafeteria near Belle Glade, Florida, January 1939. First grade class in the new school, Prairie Farms, Montgomery, Alabama, 1939. During a doctor's visit, who brought anti-malarial medicine to the tenant and his family, Columbia, South Carolina, 1939. Bustling pedestrian traffic on the main street on Tobacco Auction Day in Mebane, North Carolina, November 1939. Southern states of the USA, Mississippi, 1939. Spectators at the Duke University versus North Carolina football game, Durham, North Carolina, October 1939. Street in Chapel Hill, North Carolina, October 1939. Students during a break, University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, North Carolina, September 1939. Beach in Miami Beach, Florida, 1939. Jai Game at Hialeah Park, Miami, Florida, April 1939. Ski resort town of Woodstock, Vermont, usually crowded with skiers on weekends, 1939. Ski resort town of Woodstock, Vermont. Tourist camp, trailer park and cabins, near Plant City, Florida, 1939. Spectators at a baseball game, Atlanta, Georgia, 1939. Country store in Natchez, Mississippi, August 1940. Crossroads store, bar, jukebox, and gas station in the cotton plantation area, Melrose, Louisiana, June 1940. Rural landscape in Louisiana, 1940. Farmers' cooperative truck carrying milk to town, March 1940. Suburban farmers bring milk cans to the crossroads each morning, where a truck picks it up and takes it to town, March 1940, Woodstock, Vermont. Oat harvest in southeast Georgia, April 1940. Hired hand on a farm near Woodstock, Vermont, usually empties his radiator each evening and refills it in the morning to save on the cost of antifreeze, 1940. Garbage collector's sled, Woodstock, Vermont, 1940. Mail carrier making deliveries after a heavy snowfall, Woodstock, Vermont, 1940. Port Gibson, Mississippi, August 1940. Residential area of North Conway, New Hampshire, February 1940. Street scene in Port Gibson, Mississippi, August 1940. Residents of Woodstock, Vermont, March 1940. Residents of Woodstock, Vermont, March 1940. Residents of Woodstock, Vermont, March 1940. Tourist cottages in the suburbs of Louisville, Kentucky, July 1940. A Sunday in New Orleans, Louisiana. Checkers game, January 1941. A tourist reading a magazine near his trailer home in a trailer park, Sarasota, Florida, January 1941.